to Martechify, a community of marketing professionals interested in digital marketing, MarTech, and AI. I'm your host, Ekaterina Konovalova, and today my guests are from the business intelligence team at Verizon, Kothai and Nat, and we're going to talk about effective strategies for customer engagement and learn more about Verizon's CXI program that recently won the Forrester B2B Program of the Year award. So it was a very interesting initiative, and I'm eager to hear more about what Kothai and Nat did at Verizon and how other marketers can learn from them. Welcome to our conversation.
Thank you.
As usual, I would like to hear your story and what inspired you to join Verizon.
Thank you. I can go first. So my name is Kothai Sriramachandran. First of all, thank you for getting my name right because most people don't. It's a mouthful and it's difficult. I'm a Senior Director for Data Science and Business Intelligence for the Verizon Business Group. And probably I'll spend like next couple of minutes talking about me going under the hood of who I am, how I lead, and why I believe data science is just not about math, it's about teamwork and transformation. So let's start with the origin story, right? I was born and brought up in India, and I made the big move to the US in 2017. Academically, I hold an undergraduate degree in mathematics and master's in business administration, MBA. I am that rare hybrid of math nerd who is also interested in business strategy. Apart from that, I'm a voracious reader and a lifelong continuous learner, and I actually hold over 10 different certifications on data science, analytics, leadership from top B schools, and I literally can't help myself. If there's something new to learn, I have to learn. And when I log off, which off late is becoming really, really rare, but when I do log off, I really enjoy traveling, reading, and watching crime thriller movies, series. Data science is actually being a detective. You just have to, try finding the outliers, examining the evidence, looking for clues, figuring out what caused a certain chain of events. So it's very similar. And if you look at my Clifton strengths, my top 5 are I'm an achiever, learner, analytical, responsibility, and ideation. So basically, I love to brainstorm new ideas. I encourage my teams to come up with new ideas every single week, every single month. We have this dedicated sessions, brainstorming sessions, and I do take responsibility for them. I encourage failures because if you don't fail, you don't innovate. So how has that played out in my career, right? So, well, I've had a quite multidisciplinary career, moving up from an individual contributor to people lead to manager to AD, and now I'm a senior director. For Verizon, I've done like several things for consumer, for technology, for network and IT, and now I'm part of Verizon Business Group. And here I built the very first AI-driven strategy team for the marketing science team, which was like back then it was called marketing science, but now it's all of customer experience and revenue operations. I built this team from ground up, right? So today my team runs over 250 AI ML propensity models focused on growth, retention, and customer experience. And no, these aren't runaway models. They do look beautiful when they are working correctly. We will talk about that in a little bit when we double click on CXI. I will bring you all up to speed there. I'm going to wrap up by saying, okay, so why Kothai? If you want to ask why Kothai, why do I do this? And how do I lead? It comes down to a few core pillars, right? So build, develop, analyze, innovate, transform, passion, presence, and partnerships. And at the center of everything I do, it's integrity. Integrity is, Verizon has a lot of credo statements. My most favorite is integrity always matters. And that's my favorite t-shirt too. I wear that t-shirt all the time, whenever I can. So integrity is at the core of everything I do. And above all else, my secret weapon is teamwork. Because without the team, you cannot be a good leader. You cannot do anything at all, for that matter. Yeah.
What a beautiful intro. Yes. And Nat, what about you?
That is a beautiful intro, yes. And I would say, certainly from a leadership perspective, Kothai's leadership and her guidance certainly infiltrates, I would say, a lot of our organization, the Verizon Business side of the house. And so it's a privilege to get to work alongside her and be a part of that teamwork she described. So,
Admiration goes both ways, Nat.
So yeah, so I've gotten to be a part of the Verizon team for almost 23 years now. And as part of that, I would say in the past 7 years, having gotten to work with Kothai from regards to the business intelligence side of the house and looking at ways that we can help leverage data and make that different. So when we think about AI, thinking about how it is so mechanical, but making sure that there's that human side of it. And that's the beauty. And we'll talk more about that today, but really thinking about the humans that both we get to teamwork with and the humans that are a part of our organization, how we help shepherd them, how we help guide them. To Kothai's point, one of the things that I'm privileged to get to work on right now, Verizon offers tuition reimbursement. And so I'm taking advantage of that, pursuing a master's in business administration as well. We have 3 classes left, so we're almost there in completion. But in looking at that, making sure that I am a continuous learner with my team as well. So I am privileged to get to lead the marketing science, which has transitioned. Now it's part of our customer experience and revenue operations organization. And part of that is getting to lead the strategy side of the house, looking at how we integrate customers' experience from a strategic perspective, both with programs and getting to partner. My team is only one of many under the experience side of the house within Verizon Business. So getting to work with our teammates and look at ways that we can help really look under the hood at journeys, at experiences, and then leveraging the data to help us empower our frontline, empower our employees to show up the best every day for our customers. And really looking at ways that we can help the business both elevate, but also teamwork, even with our customers. That is such an important part of the journey experience and looking at ways that we can help one another continuously learn. So really excited to be here and thank you for the invitation.
You are welcome. And now let's talk about customer engagement and teamwork and AI and CXI, the Net Promoter Score. So let's unpack your initiative and learn more about what you did and what's ahead.
Awesome, let's do that. So I will probably introduce the technical side of CXI, and Nat can talk about how CXI was used to really bring a difference in the customer experience, right? From the usage part of it. I did mention about 250 different models that we have built, right? So let's get to the technicalities of it. Most people inside corporate telecom still frame competition as Verizon versus AT&T versus T-Mo, but that is not how your customers think, right? So a user does not benchmark their operator against another operator. They benchmark it against every digital interaction they have in a day, and they expect Amazon's level of support. They expect Apple's seamless onboarding. They expect Uber's real-time visibility. That is what the customers are looking for. So the 250 propensity models, and I'm not saying that those weren't required. Those were required, but those were not enough. So that's where I wanted to double click a little bit on. We had over 250 models 2 years ago. So how did that help us? It definitely did help us understand the customer needs, but we were able to target the customers across sales, marketing, customer experience, network, service. All of that were siloed. So we did understand the needs, but how we address those needs were all siloed. So if you think about it, we had individual models that were predicting customers' propensity to churn, customers' propensity to add so-and-so products. Great. But those were all standalone models. How do you bring it all together to understand the customer as as an entity? Every customer is different. That's why we wanted to, beyond the models, beyond the AIML propensity models, we developed nuanced microsegmentation because every customer is different, and we wanted to treat every customer based on their behaviors and attributes. And we have solid foundation of over 250 propensity models. That is only foundation. That's where I was going. And then we built these microsegments to understand our customers better. And then all of these foundational models fed into something called CXI. It's not a buzzword. And it stands for Customer Experience Index. So what we thought was, there's industry standard Net Promoter Score, but it is reactive, it is survey-based, and it's done probably twice a year. And it's not going to encompass all of your customers. It's only some customers. It's not representative of your entire base, and it is reactive. So we wanted something proactive because we know everything about our customers. It's all sitting all over. All you have to do is bring it all together to understand the customers better. So back then, 2 years ago, with all these standalone models and our siloed targeting, we were able to still treat the customers. But at the end of the day, when we put it all together, what we gave to the customer, I'll explain with an analogy. It looked like a wild buffalo with a trunk and 2 tusks. And after seeing that, we realized that maybe the customer wanted an elephant. So we did deliver everything in bits and pieces. And we even told the customer, hey, we gave 2 horns for free. But that's not what the customer wanted, right? So as a whole, we delivered everything accurately in bits and pieces. But as a whole, maybe not. As a whole customer experience, maybe not. That is where CXI stands tall, right? So it tells you not just whether the customer is going to be a promoter, passive, or a detractor. With all the foundational models, it can tell you why the customer is a promoter, why the customer is a passive or a detractor, and what do you have to do to improve the customer experience? What actions you need to take to move a customer from a detractor to passive, or to move a customer from a passive to promoter. And if the customer is already a promoter, then even when you're selling things to the customer who has a really good customer experience, don't sell anything and everything. Just understand what the customer needs and be very precise about what you're selling. That is what CXI does. And it brings all of the targeting strategies together because the starting point is the customer. We know what the customer wants. And from there, it gets routed to sales. It gets routed to marketing campaigns. It gets routed to next best experience in terms of offers, whatever that is. It gets used in routing the customers to the right rep queues. It gets routed to the sales team so they know what to sell, when to sell, and how to sell. So the starting point makes it easier for all of these targeting strategies to come together. They're not siloed anymore. That is what CXI was able to do. And the orchestration and implementation part was the difficult part, not the model itself. And that is where I'm probably going to hand it over to Nat, and she can explain how all these strategies came together, how it was used.
Yes. And the model was definitely a vast muscle that we, having been historically with Verizon for so long, I had the opportunities to be a part of both sales and our public sector sales leadership, as well as local and regional marketing initiatives. So having experienced those in the shoes of the sales organization, or even partnering with support, you can absolutely recognize the opportunities that the CXI model brought forth and how we can expedite the human interactions. So looking at ways, when you think about it, How many of us have experienced a business transaction, whether it was a long-term engagement or very short, minute interaction, where we felt heard and acknowledged and understood, and then there was a solution that was presented that was customized to my needs, our needs. And those moments in time leave a healthy mark. They leave a mark that is a good remembrance to say, I'm going to drive loyalty here because they've built trust with me as a customer. So it allows us to both look at ways we can empower and activate that really proactive effort with our front line, whether it's sales, whether it's support, or even our operations teams. How is it that we can help drive that awareness so that in the moment, that person interacting with the customer, they don't need to go do the research or try and open different portals to go research something. They can use the model that is affording them to be human. It allows them to pause and really listen and understand and empathize, because that's where that becomes the game changer in those moments, allowing them to expedite the resolution as well as hear the customer out. And when we can empathize with them, it really allowing us to solve the problem, sometimes even more proactively prior to the customer even knowing it's an issue. If we start recognizing rhythms are happening, how do we help make sure that we're proactively looking at the pathways and the journeys where we can target that interaction? So, one other thing, thinking about building that actionable trust, we think about using this as strategic intelligence. So, yes, the intelligence is there. It's a matter of how we apply it. So, what Kothai was mentioning is how is it that we help take those learnings, those key learnings, and apply them to either outreach or triggers or campaigns. And there are many, many teams across this organization that are really absorbing the intel that's being provided through the CXI model and then applying it to make sure that our either our outreach is knowledgeable and meaningful, or the reactionary when we're receiving an inbound call or contact or opportunity to meet with a customer. How is it that we help refine those conversations to really be impactful and get the most out of those moments in time? And then the last part is really strengthening. So we've talked about a little bit of the strategic, but strengthening both empowering our employees to really be experience heroes, whether it's from a training that perhaps our team has built out with our L&D team to say, how are you using this model? Here's some ways to apply it. Here's how best to leverage that information and make sure that we're really showing up in those moments that matter for our customers. And then I think last is through those real-time knowledge insights, allowing us to strengthen that loyalty and the partnerships with our customers. So it's not just that one moment. It is an ongoing rhythm where they build that trust. They want to come back and partner with us and understand what solutions can you do to help move my business forward. It's not about me as the sales rep or me as the agent. It's about empowering then our customer to be the best themselves and growing their business, enriching their moments in time so they then can help their own customers. So it's really a healthy ripple effect, and just privileged to be a part of it.
Yes. And just to clarify for people listening, we talk about business. So it's Verizon Business Solutions, not consumer, right?
Yeah.
And can we look at any examples? So as we talk about pain points and how you're able to resolve them or have visibility in real time and then orchestrate journeys that create this pleasant experience for your customers, as well as if they're businesses, they can also serve their own customers. Can you provide an example of how that CXI really helped, maybe one or two scenarios where you see this positive experience for your customers?
I think part of it is looking at ways that we're helping delight our customers. Occasionally, Verizon is known for our DBIR, our data breach investigation report. And oftentimes, smaller businesses may think, well, I don't need to worry about that, or it may not pertain to me yet because I'm not broad enough. Well, when our team is able to be positioning themselves to really lean in and listen, the CXI model affords them the strength to proactively solve some of those or mitigate problems in the midst of that. So because we can be a better listener, we might be solutioning other things that help them react or respond, or then proactively engage with their customers where they're bringing delight as well. So things like the DBIR allows us to say, hey, we're solving these issues. Now let's talk about your security of your platform, how it is that we can partner with you as Verizon Business to be a holistic, engaged provider as opposed to a vendor, a single vendor solving for one problem. It allows our teams to holistically both discover and uncover opportunities that help really allow our businesses to thrive. We've seen many, many success stories, even some that have been now posted on our LinkedIn business page that talks about the success of those small businesses, allowing themselves to think beyond the scope of work that they're doing that day. So I hope that helps.
Yes.
I can probably add another example too. So specifically, if you talk about businesses, right? So mid-markets, large enterprise businesses, completely different from consumers, right? When we had our original set of models, it can predict churn 30 days out, 7 days out, or imminent churn. I'm giving a churn example, right? But is 7 day enough time for you to turn things around? Is 1 day enough for you to turn things around, improve the customer experience and save the customer? It's last ditch effort, maybe for consumers, but for businesses, you need a little bit of time to work with them. So especially when you talk about mid-markets and large enterprises, that's what CXI was helping us do. It told us, even when the customers were passives, even 6 months out, it can tell you this customer is going in the direction of becoming a detractor. And probably 6 months from now, this customer is going out, taking thousands of lines away with them. They're taking the entire business out. So 6 months was enough time for people to, bring things together, make sure they work with the customers directly. Because if you talk about large businesses, there's like a specific reps that are responsible for those accounts, and giving them all of this context 6 months ahead helped, not just improve the customer experience, but also, to Nat's point, think about Verizon, especially from business perspective. It's not just like a broadband network provider. We have to be, tech partners. If you think about it, our factory floors and refrigerators are, smarter than we are now. So what does that mean? We cannot just, okay, let's just improve your network experience and then we are good. No, we're not good. So you have to handhold them. You have to make sure that you understand their needs and requirements. Make sure you improve their experience. Make sure you address the issues. So in 6 months period time, 3 months, focus on fixing all their issues, concerns, get them up to speed, improve their experience, then understand what their further needs are as a business, and then try to serve the right products and solutions that Verizon has. So that is what CXI helped us do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to clarify for our audience, because most people, when they hear Verizon, they think about cell phone services or internet. When we talk about business universe, what additional services do you typically provide?
Private 5G network, and then providing AI solutions. Like I mentioned, it's IoT products, right? So making sure that we are providing a tech solution, not just, whether it is FiOS or FWA or mobility. It's not just that. It's providing a suite of products that would help solve their day-to-day business. It's IoT products, private 5G wireless network. So it's a suite of products. It's total mobile protection, which is going to help them provide security, or for all of their, if they have like 100 lines, They can get total mobile protection for all of their 100 lines. And these are all like some unique Verizon Business products. And then we have OneTalk, which is, part of OneTalk is now very similar to smartphones, but we provide OneTalk, and then several products and services. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for that clarification, because it really helps to understand your initial example where you identified that there could be frustration on the client's part, and over the next few months, first you need to solve the problem and then decide how else you can enhance and help that business. Let's talk about implementation challenges, because it sounds amazing and really wonderful, and I know you have really good results. But I'm sure there were some roadblocks when you tried to implement it. So what were they?
Exactly. And it was very difficult 7 years back because, as I mentioned earlier, it's partly on us too, because all these models are standalone models. They serve different purposes. They had their own objectives. But it's very difficult to go and pitch your product when it's like all over, right? So just to double click on what Nat said, teams have their own priorities, right? So if you talk about sales teams, they have their own goals. They have their own gross ad goals. If you go to product teams, to your earlier question, what are the other products? If you ask product teams, they would say, my top products that I need to focus on for this year is going to be Verizon Business Complete. It has to be FWA managed services. They will probably come and say, no, mobility FWA, maybe not for me. Maybe my priority is TMP. My priority is accessories. My priority is connected laptops. And then if you go to service teams, they will go and say, my priority is reducing average handle time. My priority is reducing people who are chronic callers, calling us over and over again. If you go and talk to network teams, they'll say, I need to resolve my NRB tickets faster. I need to make sure that I don't get so many outages anymore. So teams have their own priorities, right? So what was the most difficult part of the implementation is, it doesn't matter. You're serving one single customer. Doesn't matter whether it's marketing, doesn't matter whether it's product, pricing, it all has to start from the customer. So that part was difficult. And even if you talk about it technically, right? So so let's say I have a model, CXI model, that will tell you, okay, this customer so-and-so, these are the actions you need to take. There is a package, there is a catch for everybody. So for the product teams, it'll also tell you, okay, of your top priority products, what are the products you can sell to each customer? And for the sales teams, it still has something. It says, okay, you cannot sell anything and everything. Prioritize on these things. You would still be able to hit your goals, but start from here. And then for service teams, what it does is, okay, your priority is reducing average handle time. Your priority is reducing chronic callers, but don't like blindly take everything and everybody, right? So it helps you route the right customers to the right queue so they treat them appropriately. So that's why initially when I was talking about it, the starting point is important, and it has everything for everybody or something for everybody. And the orchestration part, right? So that was also difficult. So from the model, it had to then go to the field teams. Like the sales teams have their own application, their own front end. So this had to feed to their front end. And for the service teams, it's in the back end. We have to use the scores and the logic to route the right customers to the right queue. Again, backend. And then for the marketing teams, it's the campaigns. They would say, for me, my priority is smartphone campaigns for this month. I need to work on getting so many net ads. So they have prioritized campaigns. Okay, again, in the back end, we need to use the scores and recommendations and get the right audience for the right marketing campaigns. That had to, all of these things had to be automated. So that part was the difficult part. But since it's all starting from the same point, it was all acting together, like it was all in synergy.
Nice. It almost sounds like a cultural shift where
Yes.
you had so many constituencies within Verizon to educate and show the value, and now it sounds like the adoption is a success.
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. So, as we wrap our conversation, let's talk about governance, because obviously AI is amazing and everybody is experimenting with it, but Verizon is a very conscious company who takes protection and security seriously. So, how were you able to balance amazing AI and real-time insights with the governance?
We do have strict governance in terms of what data we use for what models. We go through legal reviews for all of that. And even after the model is ready, if we're using for marketing, there's CP&I, there's compliance. Who do we target for which campaign? Who do we not target at all? Because, they said D&D. So there's a lot of governance in play. There's a lot of compliance in play. But purely what Nat was talking about was, you still need a bias toward action, right? So companies often, fall into the ruts of organizational norms. I'm flipping the script here, like putting up boundaries, putting up rules, and endless review processes that make it impossible to move fast. You have to give your teams the extreme agency to see a frustrated customer and instantly pivot to solving their problems without needing to get approval from 3 different managers. So those are the policies that Nat and team, they're transforming those processes to make sure that it's not that complicated, while we still have a lot of boundaries around how we use the data, how we approach the customer. So all that said, it's the focus is still on improving processes and policies, simplifying. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate quick, easy resolution without a lot of
Absolutely.
red tape.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It was very interesting to hear about your program and initiative.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk.